Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling, and this is our round table discussion, specifically controversial topic. We will take, could be devil's advocate, could be something we fully truly believe, and we are going to bring it up. It could be something that's completely controversial, completely negative against the wall, and that is the beauty of this, because I think some people in this modern era are really scared to go against the grain.
There's a lack of nuance, I think, in general conversation now, but wrestling especially.
Tribalism.
It's very tribal.
You can't say anything negative about an AEW, for example, because you just get called a WWE stan. If you say, "Oh, I like Will Ospreay," you get told that you only care about this repeat.
Yeah.
So we don't like that, but at the same time, there might be times where you believe something that everyone else doesn't, and I think that's really important. And sometimes we might not believe it. We're just opening up a conversation that other people might have said, or we've seen in the Twitter. I'll not call it X sphere.
No.
So
I just think it's important as well to remember wrestling is unbelievably subjective.
could be more objective or subjective if you tried.
I could love something, you could hate it. It doesn't mean that either of us is right or wrong. It's not a sport. It's very subjective. So there is. I know it sounds cliche, but there's no technically right or wrong answer.
There is no right or wrong answer because also someone else is writing it. It's a TV show. And when someone goes, this person should have won, they're like, why? This is what the TV show is. Watch the TV show. Don't backseat book it, because the minute you do that, you won't like it. Because one of two things will happen. They either won't do it and you go, meh, or they'll do it and you go, well, that was predictable. So you can't win, okay? The only time you win is when it's something obvious, like a Kofi Kingston wins or a Daniel Bryan wins. That was always going to happen. You might as well not go. That's going to happen. Yeah. So our controversial opinion, we're going to do one each. One will bring it up, and we'll have a quick discussion, give you your reasons why, and we'll try and argue against it and all that stuff. You might even agree with it. That might be the fascinating thing. It'll be a really interesting conversation. We agree. So we're going to start with you, Baby Sam. What is your controversial opinion, your topic for today's video?
I'd like to start by saying I like him.
Okay.
He's a great wrestler. My controversial take is that Seth Rollins isn't a good babyface.
Wow, interesting. Give me. What's your theories, your theorems?
So, I'm contradicting myself already because ultimately,
Whoa.
it's got over, massively over. Massively. So he has achieved what he wanted to achieve, and he gets reactions, and I get that. I just feel as though a lot of people can get over through catchphrases. I go to Jey Uso's yeet as an example, and that might be another controversial take I do later. You can get over quite easily, and it's not a bad thing, by just coming up with simple catchphrases or even a theme song. Nakamura got over with a theme song. How good of a babyface was he?
I can even top that.
Go on.
Fandango.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Fandango was not like Summer 7 in the UK charts or something stupid, and everyone was mad for that. You left WrestleMania 29, that's all the fans were doing on the way out of the arena. They were all Fandango. People were recording it, and they had no choice but to make him babyface.
Yeah, but how much is that on Fandango and not the wrestling theme? I love Fandango, but is he a great babyface? No. So I look at Seth's body of work, and if you remember his early face turn in like 2016, Kingslayer, that whole thing, it was bland, as a blandy bland.
Yeah.
Pretty dire. It was okay, and he's got the moveset to be babyface, so he wrestles good matches.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at a characterization. Do you really root for him? When he's a babyface, he's bland, he doesn't really say anything, he doesn't have much personality. And now with his recent one, you can go, okay, personality, it's a bit Macho Man, but it doesn't
Macho Man's a good comparison, actually.
It's kind of like Macho Man, but it's without the flavour and authenticity that was behind Macho Man, and that kind of, it's a bit more two-dimensional to me. And it started off as quite an effective gimmick as a heel because it was pretentious, and it's being falsely positive, and you didn't really know what he was thinking, and he was being, annoying, which is great as a heel. Then it got over because it was good, and now he's a face, and I don't think it works as a face because he's not really that sincere. He was a little bit WrestleMania 40, so I give him that, and he's got that story of being Cody's Shield and his whole thing with...
Cody made that, though.
Exactly.
Cody made
and that's more, he's been given a good story than his babyface work is good. So that's my...
So, do you know what? I'll pick on a few things on that, because I agree with a lot of it, but, let's argue. The first thing is, you said a really, really, really important point. He has the moveset of a babyface. And famously, if you have a really bad character, but you have the correct moveset, you can kind of get away with it a little bit. So I always think of someone like a Will Ospreay. I've never liked Will Ospreay's character, and I don't think his kind of promos work in America. They work in England fine. I don't think they massively work in America, but every time he wrestles, you're completely fully on board. And I think Seth's the exact same. Seth can have a terrible, and this is week on, week out. Doesn't work. Then the match is awesome and he's completely got you on board because his moveset is fantastic.
Yeah.
I always thought his moveset struggled when he was a heel. Because he has a babyface moveset.
But I always could buy him as that, almost that cowardly heel.
Oh, he had to play the old chicken salad technique. He had to always do that when he was a heel, which also killed his character. Because here's my argument against your babyface. He's not a good babyface. I don't think he's a good heel either.
Oh, I disagree.
Here's what this is more controversy. I think Seth's problem is Seth has arguably been the best in-ring worker in WWE for a while now. He holds so much together. His in-ring work is phenomenal. I don't think there's anyone in my eyes on... I don't think he would necessarily be the best if he went to AEW, but I think there are people like Daniel Bryan and stuff like that who I think would have beat him on that. But I think in WWE, he is the number one worker in the company. And I always think his character is always bad. I didn't like his authority character. It completely ruined him from Shield to not. It's a good character in general, but it didn't work for him because we'd just done the Shield where they were, he was the architect, he did all this, and then suddenly cowardly immediately. There was no bridge. And then you had his Monday Night Messiah gimmick. Him with Authors of Pain, Buddy Murphy.
I didn't mind it at first, but it never went anywhere, and it was just a bit...
bad.
Yeah.
That was really bad. That character sucked. And you're right with his babyface, because I didn't mind his heel run with this character because I don't find Seth quite sincere anyway on the microphone. And I don't know if that's acting ability, because when you see him talk, he's a very sincere person. Maybe it's just his style of cadence, his voice. So I do get it could be him. Because I've seen him do interviews as himself. And he does kind of sound like that. So I'm maybe doing him a disservice. But that heel work became naturally a babyface because he could not be a babyface because the music was over. It reminded me of Bobby Roode. Yeah. Bobby Roode's a heel. Always a heel. The Glorious Gimmick is a heel. Just because you've got an amazing theme tune does not mean you have to be a babyface. And Vince didn't get that. And Vince didn't get that with Seth. And I think Triple H wants Seth as a babyface more than anything. I think he wants him to always be the babyface on Raw. I think he's usually the number one babyface on Raw anyway.
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I think Shawn Michaels, great gimmick. So I actually completely agree, 100% with you that I don't think it's that controversial in the grand scheme of things, but I think people will disagree.
I don't think
he makes a good babyface.
Over, and he's so almost over. Like on the level with Roman and Cody now. Everyone loves him, and I get it, and I think he's brilliant.
They love him because they respect him. The Shield was there. He's been over 10 years in WWE.
I think people massively love him because A, the theme, but B, and more importantly, is they respect Seth Rollins because he's been amazing for years.
He did a great job with that world title to give it something for the first time, being that kind of like champion who works. I am on every show and all that jazz. That's good. Yeah,
I'm never going to go for his wrestling ability, but I'm just talking specifically as a babyface. I've never thought he was great and made you really root for him. Think of a really good Seth Rollins babyface promo.
Oh, promo. I think around the 40 he was good. Okay,
I'll give you that.
I think, but again, he's working with Rock, Roman, and to an extent Cody, who's definitely the weakest of the four promos of the four. Cody makes, but the thing is, the difference between Cody and Seth. Seth's a better promo than Cody, I believe, but Cody makes you emote. So even though Cody is saying this kind of the same thing over and over and over again, I do just go, I believe, sort of thing. Yeah. I believe in Joe. But I do believe in Joe Hendry. But like. Do you know what? As a controversial opinion, I think we're going to have our first official controversial opinion end as I actually agree.
Hey.
There you go. You can have an agreement from me.
Happy days. Okay, so now I've got that out of the way. Sam, what's your controversial take for us?
Do you know what? I think I said something in a previous video in a top 10 list that I think probably needs elaborating a little bit more and more discussion. And we had a 2-minute, 3-minute chat about it. I had no problem with the great Khali becoming world champion. Now, if you want controversial opinion, now we're talking.
Okay, let's just digest this.
Let me do my little spiel for you, so you can understand where I'm at. Do I think the great Khali is a good wrestler? No. Do I think the great Khali was a good character? No. Do I think the great Khali was a good promo? No. Do I think the great Khali deserved to be world champion? No.
Oh, that's it then.
Yeah. But there's a thing you've got to remember at wrestling. Everyone always thinks people deserve stuff. You deserve it. They all deserve it. Every wrestler works unbelievably hard. They take bumps, which hurt. It's a wooden ring. And there's no such thing as who deserves it more than anyone. There are just people who are more talented or people who work harder. Why would someone deserve it? It's like when I say you still got it. Remember they chanted you still got it at Jericho in like the 2013 Royal Rumble? It's like, he's still going.
Backhanded compliment, isn't
it? I think he was there going, I never lost it. What do you mean? I only made my return in 2007. Like, it's only 6 years. How bad can you go in 6 years? But booking and storytelling is what wrestling is all about. And there have been some bad world champions solely because of booking. Okay? I think Yokozuna is a good example of that. The Great Khali made his debut and he took out The Undertaker. He was 7'3" build, 420 pounds, massive. No one has ever looked like the Great Khali. There are people who've been taller, there are people who've been heavier. I don't think there's ever been a man taller or wider who wasn't fat than the Great Khali. He had the booking, he beat up he squashed The Undertaker at Judgment Day. Don't get me wrong, the wrestling's terrible, let's forget that, right? He loses in a last man standing back at SummerSlam, but not at SummerSlam, at the SmackDown before SummerSlam, because someone went, we can't put him on a live pay-per-view. Put him on SmackDown, it's recorded, we can edit around it. But then Edge is world champion, gets injured. Someone's got to be world champion. They didn't want to just hand it straight to Batista or Kane, who I think were going to have a triple threat against Edge, and that was the match. So they just went with Great Khali winning a Battle Royal, a 7-foot monster winning a Battle Royal. Makes sense. A guy who's been booked really, really strongly. You got to remember when he made his debut, he beat Rey Mysterio, who was the world champion, in
So did I in 2006.
Yes, you did, but SmackDown versus Raw is a different thing, Sam.
That's true.
However, I went over Rey at the Great American Bash. But this is the thing. Like, if you're going from a booking perspective, he is the correct person to be world champion. He's massive. He's beaten world champions. Why would he not be world champion? Then, what was the reign like? It was weeks long. I think it went his matches 2 months long. I think my memory serves me. He won that match. I think he then won another match afterwards and then lost to Batista. And that's it. The matches were just as good as they can be with the Great Khali. I mean, I reckon I would put them as like his 3rd or 4th best ever match. His matches with John Cena probably being the top. They were very, very good.
You're not spoiled for choice,
No, it's not you. I mean, I would love to do the top 10. Oh, should we do that? The top 10 Great Khali matches.
You're asking me to watch 10 Khali matches.
Nope. I'm asking you to watch 15 and try and whittle it down to 10. But but if you ask me, did I want it? No. Was I enjoying it? No. But did I mind it? No, because to me, it made sense. And at the end of the day, it gave Batista someone decent to beat. If he'd just won the title in the Battle Royal, I don't think it would have had that kind of same thing to it. Kind of like when Rhea went down. Instead of just giving it straight to Liv, they gave it to Becky so that Liv could beat somebody and Liv gets the moment. Because if Liv just wins it in the Battle Royal, that doesn't make sense. I actually think Liv won it too early, but Liv beats Becky. Becky needed to go off. And that makes Liv look much better. So when that happened, I was like, that's fine. And that's how I put it. So I did not mind the Great Khali being the world champion.
It's a good controversial take.
It really is.
I agree with plenty of the principles you got there in terms of its believability, and he'd been booked very well. But it's that sentence you said that they couldn't put him on a live pay-per-view.
Hey,
they had to edit around
when
him.
he was the champion, he was on live pay-per-views.
I think so as well. Of course you have to be on a live pay-per-view. So basically, they've made someone world heavyweight champion who they don't trust to wrestle a live match.
It was a year later. It's fine, it was a year later.
Oh, had he really improved?
No.
No, not really, no. So I get what you're saying. It's just disagree, Sam.
I can see the pain.
It really hurts me because he couldn't wrestle. So
no, he really couldn't.
So right, yes, okay, you need believability, and you need good booking. but you also, I know we've talked about, wrestling's very subjective, let's be honest. There's some things, your world champion has to be able to wrestle, doesn't he? You just have to be able to wrestle.
Sam, that's never been the case.
Well, maybe not in 1994.
That's never been the case. Diesel.
But we've got
Yokozuna,
people like Kurt Angle around the we've learned how to wrestle at this point. We know what good wrestling is. And, okay, I get not giving it to Batista straight away, or maybe I think Kane wouldn't have been a bad choice, but...
I actually, if you were making me book it, I actually think I would have had Kane win it to lose to Batista. I actually would have been fine with that, to be honest, because Kane was the one actually in the rivalry with Edge at the time.
Yeah.
So Kane winning it, if he wasn't going to win it off Edge, which clearly he wasn't, I would love to know what the storyline was going to be with Edge. I was hoping maybe we were going to get Edge Batista properly at the time.
Yeah.
I assume that's where we're going. Edge just kept getting injured when he was world champion.
Yeah.
Same for Batista.
Yeah.
Stop putting the title on them. Their triceps don't work. But I would like to see what it was. But like, if you were going to pick someone like just as a transitional interim, it's fine by me. It genuinely was fine.
I get it, but I just think someone of that.
You just don't want it, do you?
No.
You just don't want it.
Can you blame me?
You
You
just
don't
don't
want.
want it.
I mean, I wasn't watching, thank God. But
Oh God, SmackDown at this point just went into the pit of despair. The SmackDown 6 have gone. Undertaker is not showing up regularly. Batista's been had come over from Raw and got injured in his world title reign the first time, and then Edge gets injured in his world title reign. The SmackDown 6 are gone. JBL had just been champion for years up until that point as well. SmackDown just went from being the number one show, it overtook Raw, and Vince didn't like it. It was really weird. He tanked his own show. It's really strange.
Yeah.
And this was the tip of the iceberg. I think it's 2006 he's the champion. That's when my brain is telling me. And I can understand it's not good.
No.
I can get it. It's not saying, did I want it? No. It's the fact that I didn't mind it. I got it. I understood it. It's a blip in time. And you know what? There's something always to say sometimes to go, the great Khali, former world champion. Sometimes that goes, ugh, that's disrespectful to the world title. But sometimes you can also go, yeah, that makes sense that guy would be world champion. And you also forget, sometimes you've got to think about the business. And that did some great numbers in places like India, and it really made WWE something more in the Indian market. It was something they've never been able to recreate since. Jinder.
I get
wanted champions who could work. How about Jinder? That's in 2017.
I don't champion Jinder. So
you can't wait to say, I don't mind. Jinder
I am
Mahal.
never going to see the good in Jinder Mahal.
Well, we're going to do that soon.
Yeah, I know, and I'm just going to say nothing the entire video and sulk. Pretty much. But I see your point, Khali, and I get that, because I often think similar with Big Show, it's like, if you do book them really well and treat them, people believe it, and someone that size is that big of a threat should.
Big Show beat Brock. He was the first one to beat Brock. Yeah. So I know it's a bit different, Big Show, years of experience, but it's very similar, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Big Show's
and considering it's a few weeks. I mean, imagine if it was a JBL like the time.
Oh yeah. I think it went maximum 2 months, but it happened just after a pay-per-view, so I think he'd done 2 pay-per-views. So
that's too many for me.
So what do you think? My controversial? Are you allowing it?
Do I have to give it agree or disagree, or can I?
You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want.
Can I leave?
Yeah. Go on. I'll finish the video. Go on. I'll finish the video. Thank you very much for joining us on our controversial take. What is your opinions on Seth Rollins as a babyface and the Great Khali as the world champion? Do you have any positive or negatives to feel like that? Thank you very much for joining for our controversial take. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next time on the Round Table and Sam's on Wrestling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Chop!